Hey everybody, Big Bad John here with. That's your cue.
Oh, Nate picked 007.
Nate picked up low 7, and we are here to
Yeah.
do some Southern country tech talk. Did I get that right? So,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
good. Southern country tech talk. Right, so. Um, anyway, I was seeing this new horse and buggy that came out.
Oh yeah, did it have independent suspension all the way around?
Dude, it did, and it actually, instead of using wooden spokes for the wheels, it had this very intriguing metal alloy, even. Yeah,
Really?
carbon. I think it had carbon fiber, something like that. Yeah, some fandangle thing like that. I don't know. No,
Yeah,
you're.
that's too fancy for my
Yeah,
liking.
yeah. It's getting a little pricey too.
Yeah. Was
The
it $2?
uh, I think I wanted to say it was like 250.
Oh, that's too much, man. You
Yeah,
can't pay a
yeah.
dollar for something. That's too much.
Right. I mean it, and I mean it's only like 1 horsepower. Literally, I'm pretty sure it's just 1 horse. So yeah, it kind of stinks. Anyway, how about you bring up the topics that we are actually talking about?
All right. So the way it's going to work is me and Big John, since he doesn't have face cam, we're going to just randomly play games, mostly this blockbuster, and uh, just bring us some topics that we decided to talk about. So the first and foremost, like every other millions of tech talks in the world, I guess we will start with a huge debate
Mm-hmm.
of Intel and AMD.
Right.
So to explain why we're deciding to do this, because me and Big John over here like to talk about Intel and
Mm-hmm.
AMD. He is an Intel fanboy.
Mm-hmm. And
And I'm
you
just
are
an
an
AMD
AMD.
liker.
You're an AMD fanboy. Let's face it.
Yeah, no, not really. Anyways, so we there's some pros and cons, and since we have a fanboy of Intel over here, we'll let him do the and cons for Intel.
Okay. Which should I do first? Pros or cons?
Yes, start with the cons.
Okay. Cons are obviously price. That's probably the most major one. They are pricey. I think the 4790K is going for, I'm wanting to say about 500. Um, yeah, I was gonna look that up, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I mean
believe
the
that.
money savings are phenomenal with AMD.
Right, and the one thing that I will say that AMD is absolutely destroying Intel in is the APUs, because Intel are okay for gaming, but the graphics are kind of crap.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas AMD, if because it has Radeon graphics in like built into it, if you if you're trying to go for something that's let's say that you only have $400, right? And you really can't afford to buy a graphics card and a chipset.
Right.
Which if you can't do that with AMD, you are seriously lacking in some money. But I'm just throwing that out there. But let's say if you can't do that, but honestly, you can get like an A10, like I think it's like 5600K that still clocked at like 3.4 gigahertz, I believe, and it still has the open system, so you can overclock it as well,
Mm-hmm.
and you can actually still play 1080p games. I mean, granted, it'll be kind of medium settings, but and if you have a 720p monitor, it's even better because then you can play it at high settings.
Right.
So I mean, the price factor for AMD is absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in the South, that's kind of important for us, the pricing, because let's face it, you're in the richest part of the country, and I'm not.
I'm a poor person in the richest part of the country, though. Just don't make any mistake there. See, I mean, me and Nate, I'd say our income is actually pretty comparable. Like, um, oh,
And we're back, right?
and we're back. Yes,
Okay.
as I was saying, our our income is probably pretty comparable. Neither one of us make a ton of money, and um, actually, cost of things at stores around here is super expensive, and basically, I buy everything from Amazon because it's so much cheaper. Um, but uh, but yeah, for me, I choose usually to if I have to wait another 6 months before I could afford something a bit nicer, I almost always wait that extra 6 months. Like that's how I've always been. Um, and so for me, like I see something that's a little bit more like the Intel. It's like twice as much, but I like the performance of it, and I like the technology behind it a lot better. And so I decide to usually go with that. Um, but with that said, to be honest, I would not ever be against getting a an AMD just because of how, um, like you said, how affordable they are for the specs. Um,
Right. And one biggest thing I feel like that, especially for somebody that's like me, that's into overclocking, um, AMD still has the world book of records right now for overclocking, and I think it's like ain't it like 8.1 gigahertz or so. It's absolutely insane what you can do because it's completely open, and that's what I kind of the one thing I hated about Intel was that they and okay guys, when I say this, I don't hate me in the comments, but in some ways they're kind of like Apple. They're jerks to people that understand computers.
Intel is
Sometimes, yes.
okay.
I'm just saying like cuz there's several of their CPUs that they're they're locked. You can't do nothing with them.
That's
But
usually like in their laptops, though, isn't it?
yeah, it is, but they also have some of their i3s are locked. Now it is a little bit older generation, but still. The one thing that I will praise AMD for doing is um, going ahead and just saying, "Hey, we're just unlocking it for you. You can do whatever the heck you want."
Right. That's
And
admirable.
now the one thing, yeah, the power. Let's
But
get to the
here's the one
power.
thing though, real quick about that, about the whole, keeping them unlocked, is there is a pro and con to doing either from a company standpoint, where AMD really kind of took a risk in doing that, is that they could end up getting a lot more bad reviews because people are allowed to do stuff, and there's going to be a lot of people who aren't being smart, and then they're going to do stupid stuff and just catch their processor on fire, and then they're going to write bad reviews and spread bad word about it. So that was definitely a risk, and I could see from a business perspective why that would be not so wise of an investment. Um, and I know, especially for Intel, and I also seen Nvidia has been doing that too, locking the processors. They did it for their GPUs. Um, I can understand that for laptops because people could be overclocking laptops, and that usually does not end well. So
Right.
I could see because unless you do want to use your laptop to fry yourself some eggs in the morning, I can see why they're doing that. But
Right.
yes, point is well made though. So
Right. Which I mean, in some ways that if you think about it, um, that's absolutely true. And honestly, I feel like laptops personally have taken like a step backwards. Instead of improving the cooling, they've
hmm
are we back?
welcome back.
Oh, okay. So as I was saying, is one thing I felt like that laptops they have kind of gone backwards in the cooling department. Like instead of making them cooler, they are starting to decide, oh well, you don't need this USB port. Oh, you don't need this USB port, and like they're taking
MacBook.
stuff away from it. Yeah, don't even get me started on that thing. So many people are like, "Oh, the new MacBook is here," and I'm like, "It's crap."
One port. Yeah, that's definitely, that's been my biggest gripe too, because as of now, there's really only one good laptop in my opinion. And you know what? I will give this to them. Asus. They were actually made it, and they made it very affordable. The ROG, which the Republic of Gamers laptops, those
Mm-hmm.
things have amazing cooling. I gotta say, I mean, a Magic Man on the server, I advised him to get one, and he did. And he said, I can't believe it. I'm used to having a laptop that gets warm. And he's like, this thing, it never heats up. It's remarkable. And so, and see, that's one of the big things is for laptops. It is definitely an advantage to have, for them to use Intel and NVIDIA, which is what they use, because they do consume less power and thus generate less heat. So they're definitely able to get some pretty sick performance out of them.
Right.
Um, right, but which is something that I wanted to ask you about. I know I used to see mainly HP laptops had Intel, or excuse me, AMD Radeon graphics in them. I have not seen one with Radeon graphics for quite some time, actually. I didn't know if they were kind of backing out of that.
No, it has to do with bitcoins. Um, it's because for the simple fact that the Radeon graphics cards use the free open mantle system,
Okay.
and so for Bitcoin mining, it's a huge long process. I'm not going to explain it, but for Bitcoin mining, like it absolutely will tear through, and there's codes, and then you have to break the codes and all kinds of stuff, and those GPUs are amazing for Bitcoin, absolutely amazing. And what happened was is AMD couldn't keep up with the supply because they're technically not that big of a um well, not that big of a supplier, so to speak. And so they started getting back orders, which tremendously jumped the price of a Radeon graphics card.
Right.
Like some of them were like in the 800s, which is absolutely stupid for a graphics card.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, it was really good. Now they have caught back up, and Nvidia, I don't know, it's like during that time period, Nvidia was able to pump out more graphics cards, and so that's why a lot of times Nvidia has quite a bit more
Mm-hmm.
in laptops and stuff.
Right. I know in the high end they've been making some leaps and bounds with MSI and Asus with these what 980Ms, the mobile GPUs. Those
Mm.
things, I mean, and like I was saying with Asus, for $1,200, you can get a laptop computer that has amazing cooling with an i7 processor that turbo boosts to 3.5 gigahertz, a quad core hyperthreading up to eight, so basically 8 cores, and then you have um, a graphics card that I think is 3 gigabyte GTX, um, and you have a terabyte hard drive, and you get 16 gig of RAM. Is that a
Right.
head? Did you put
Yeah.
this head here? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Creeper head.
I thought it was a creeper stuck in the block.
No, it's a head.
um, but yeah, that's you can actually get all that for like $1,200 and a beautiful 1080p display. You really can't beat that. But I will be interested to see AMD kind of re-enter the market there in mobile computing, because eventually I have a feeling that might be where we're headed down to. Even for enthusiasts, it's a very real possibility that everything will go mostly to laptops because it's getting pretty crazy. I still think that's a long way off, but
Right.
at the same time, it's an interesting prospect, especially if they get some good way of water cooling portable water cooling. You never know.
Mhm. Yeah, that would actually make it worth it to have a laptop if you could water cool it.
Mm-hmm.
But like I know that Big John uses a laptop, and I actually use a desktop myself. And I kind of like I also have a laptop, which I didn't really get like a major big laptop. Um, I only spent about 400 bucks on my laptop. But see, that's the one of the pros about it is because I can still play Minecraft almost at 60 frames per second, and it has the AMD APU in it
Mm-hmm.
with 4 cores, and it's got 6 cores for the graphics card. So it's for the price, that's one of the biggest things I'm gonna say with AMD. So the way we summed it up is if you have the money and you're willing to wait a little bit, absolutely go with an Intel for right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like 100%, just go with Intel. They have better processors. They just do. But if you're looking for something that, like for example, if you're more into just gaming, Intel puts up a huge argument of why not to buy, not Intel, but
Wait,
AMD
you're
puts up a
you're
huge argument.
confusing me.
Yeah, AMD puts up a huge argument of why not to buy Intel because honestly, you can get 6 cores for like 200 bucks, and then you put all the rest of your money into graphics cards.
Mm-hmm. Which isn't bad. And what is those? What do those base clock at?
The actual, I believe the 8350 actually comes straight out of the box with 4 gigahertz.
Now the question though is, I haven't looked this up. Does AMD support have a turbo boost feature such as Intel's?
Yes,
It
yes.
does.
As a matter of fact, AMD was the one that invented the turbo boost,
Gotcha.
and it actually like turbo boost up to I think it's like 4.2 gigahertz or 4.3 or something like that.
It's not
And
bad.
it's not major, but I mean, come on, it's like 4 gigahertz right out of the box.
Right.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and they do have some lower ones that will turbo up. But the great thing is, if you spend $20 and get a Cooling Masters really good, I think it's like Hyper Evo
Mm-hmm.
CPU cooler. I love that thing. I have one in my system. Dude, I like mine is slightly overclocked to 4.2 gigahertz. I still stay around like 9 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
Yeah,
Hey,
and
hey, hey!
yo,
What
what?
happened to my door?
I have no idea.
What did you do to my door?
I didn't do nothing to your
Oh,
door.
this is hilarious. Do you know what that is in there?
Uh-uh.
That's a grinder.
Oh, really?
I had him in my hand. I need to get my hammer. Uh, that is so fun. I have a grinder door. I made that grinder just for that purpose, by the way.
That's pretty funny.
Oh no, I changed the door. Oh, look at this. Hang on. Check this out. Look at that. Look. Uh, how
That's
do
pretty
I
funny.
will behave like an
Like, can it
iron?
hurt you? Can it hurt you? That's
There
pretty
we
funny
go.
though.
I figured it out.
So, so pretty much back to the topic at hand.
Sorry.
AMD, great for the price. If you're just for gaming, go with
Right.
that. If you're more into YouTube, honestly, save up your money a little bit and go with Intel. Hyper-threading has an advantage.
It does, and your system, but of course, like you said though, with a water cooler, I mean you're gonna have it cool no matter how hot your processor's getting. So,
Right.
but definitely if
And
you're air cooling, Intel is definitely better.
right. Which I will say this, a lot of people talk about the power and all that stuff. I have never seen an AMD set go over 400 watts. Now, granted, like Intel usually is like around 300 something.
Now, when you say set, you mean processor and GPU?
Right.
Okay.
And so, honestly, if you because the deal is EVGA is making some great power supplies, and
Mm-hmm.
it's 80 plus bronze, and the fact of the matter is they're like 30 bucks for 500 watts.
Yeah, they make some good stuff now.
It's just like honestly, just buy the 500 watt. You don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have like the 600 that's like for $7 more. So, it's just it depends on what your need is. And for all you fanboys out there, we were joking that we're fanboys because we're not. It's just that like money wise, I went with AMD.
We are
Big John,
open-minded.
exactly. Big John, he was like, I'm gonna wait a little bit, so he did.
Well, actually, for the record, my computer is almost 4 years old now, and it is. I can't say a bad thing about it. It's an HP Envy, no, Pavilion laptop. I mean, it was $1,000 when I bought it, exactly. Um, and it hasn't crashed. It hasn't had any issues. It's been amazing. If I could do it over, if I would have known I knew that, I would have built a desktop. But I did not. I was really tech stupid back then. So yeah. Otherwise, I would have a desktop like Nate there.
Yeah.
Oh, and we were gonna talk about the our builds that we're planning on.
Yes. Yes.
So why don't you go first?
Okay, so I am planning on building a AMD 8 core system, and I'm actually going to put NVIDIA graphics cards in there.
Okay. Which kinds?
I'm actually going to put the oh crap, I had it a while ago. I forgot the name of it. But anyways, I'll have like the specs in the links below. But anyways, I'll have NVIDIA graphics cards. I'll have the um, FX 8320, which is a little bit lower, but it's only like $119.
Right.
And I'm going to get the 600-watt power supply from EVGA, a gigabyte motherboard, which is around $70, and it also has crossfire capabilities. And so that's pretty awesome because I can get two graphics cards then. Um,
Now wait, which DTX cards are you gonna get?
I think it's the 960s.
960s. Okay, and you're gonna get two.
I think so.
Right,
Yeah,
I'm in
probably.
SLI. Okay. Okay.
Yep. And from there, I'm probably going to go with Crucial memory sticks that they have some for like $80 and it's 16 gigs for around the 1600 megahertz.
Not bad.
And I think that's pretty much it. I'm not going to put an optical drive in it because I have one already and I just tear it out my old system and stick it in there. So yeah,
Gotcha.
the total is going to be probably almost at $800 by the time I'm done.
Okay. Okay.
Because I'm buying a really good case that it's fairly cheap. It's like 40 something dollars, and it has the pockets on the sides, so you can do cable management, which is key.
So now, what are you doing for a hard drive?
The hard drive, I'm doing a Western Digital, 1 terabyte,
Black.
and then yes, yes, the black one, and then I'm going to do a what is it? Kingston. Um, it's a Kingston SSD. It's like 240 for my systems and operating some of the games. I'm gonna use that for boot up and all that stuff. So, like I said, by the time I'm done, it's gonna be around $800, and that's the great thing. I'm not even close to 1,000 yet. So,
Oh, that's good. It's impressive. So should I go now?
yeah,
Okay, I'm trying to remember. I think mine rounded out at about. I think it rounded out about 2,000. Um, it is going to be a. It's going to have the i7 4790K CPU. It's going to be the standard clock is 4 gigahertz and a turbo boost to 4.4. It's got the 4 cores, hyper-threading, yada yada yada. And I'm gonna have an Asus Sabertooth motherboard. It's got the nice sound to it. It's got basically a built-in sound card, if you want to call it that. It's got a really good sound. And it's in general, it's a very nice motherboard. It's a full-size ATX board. I'm also going to get um, I'm going to get 32 gigs of DDR3 memory, clocked at about 1800 megahertz. Um, and I'm looking at let's see what else. The graphics card is going to be a EVGA for the win edition, FTW, whatever you want to call it, 980. With the nice, they have really great cooling, two fans on it, two big fans and an aftermarket heatsink, and it's overclocked right out of the box quite a bit. So it's very nice. And the case is going to be, I believe it's a, what's it called? I think it's a Cooler Master. And it's designed to be quiet and also very good looking. Very large though. Um, and I'm not sure about the power supply yet. I was gonna go with 1,000 watt, but I'm probably not gonna need anywhere near that. Probably go with like an 850 or something. And I'm gonna probably have an optical drive, like a DVD Blu-ray drive. And thinking about putting a fan controller in as well. I'm also gonna be using the Corsair H100 dual fan radiator cooler for the CPU. And what else? What else? Oh, hard drive. I'm probably gonna get. I may downsize it to 500 gigs. But I was planning on getting the 1 terabyte Samsung SSD, the 850, and putting in also a Western Digital black, just a 1 terabyte for recording too. So I'm not constantly, using up tons of data. Like right now, I have a 1 terabyte SSD as my main drive in my computer, and I'm actually right now recording to an external drive, a USB external drive. And it actually works fine. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I think that's about it. They're not final. I'll probably build it over a period of time, buy the parts here and there. But that's my system. I got all the peripherals that I need. Although I will buy a second monitor when I get the system. Right now, my laptop takes up too much space on my desk, but I will be getting a second Asus 24-inch 1080p monitor because I've been really happy with this one. And Timbercool, actually, on the server, he got the same. He's got two of them when I told him about it. They're very affordable. But yeah, that's my build.
Acer?
Asus.
Asus. Okay, I was gonna say I have the Acer.
Oh, okay.
Which mine's 23 inches, but I have three of them. They're 1080p.
Gotcha.
And that's the crazy deal, dude. I'm using a APU style system right now with a graphics card that's crossfired in it.
Right.
And I could run three monitors still at, like, right now I'm at 120 frames on Minecraft. So
And you're running 3?
yeah, I'm running three monitors. So
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. One thing it's important for all you guys out there to understand is that, for example, my build is fairly cheap, but I can easily put, an extra $500 in it, even after I built it.
Right.
That's the thing. So, irregardless of which you go, like, whatever you go with, it's always upgradable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing I love about desktops right now.
Yeah, that's why they have not gone out of style yet.
Mm-mm.
Which, and again, I'm sure that they probably won't for quite some time.
Yeah, well, I mean, until somebody can invent a way to build your own laptop and make it easy to build your own laptop, probably will never. They probably won't go out until that happens.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's too many Americans that like to make their own decisions, and we want to build what we want.
Preach it, brother.
Exactly. Ain't no government gonna tell me what to build.
Stick in big business.
Yeah. So, the last segment that we decided that we're going to do is, and we decided on one thing, I believe, is what we don't want in the South. And I'll let Big John do that one.
All right. It was the horse and buggies, right?
Right.
Uh, okay. Actually, I'm trying to remember what did we decide on?
I can't remember, but I do have one that I have in my head right now.
Okay, yeah, why don't you go for it?
I want to say the one thing that we do not want in the South is, for right now is hybrid cars.
Hyper cars?
Yeah, like
Oh,
hybrid.
hybrid.
Yeah,
Okay, I thought you said hyper cars.
no, hybrid.
Okay.
I I feel like in here's the reason why I don't feel like it's like they're making some progress, but really in the long run, you're still destroying everything technically, and you're not really saving gas because all them ships have to ship it like all the way halfway around the world before the vehicle's made.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. For right now, I feel like the one thing that we might be interested in for vehicles, and for guys, I know this is tech talk, but vehicles are technology now.
Mm-hmm.
Just FYI. Um, one thing I think there is a promising field in is hydrogen gas,
Yeah.
and that the fact of an electric car running off of hydrogen gas would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it does, and that's Toyota's been doing a lot of that. And like you said about
Yeah.
the hybrids, those again they do. Um, I mean, of course, they have pros and cons, but yeah, you're not saving the planet by any means because you're not
Mm-mm.
even making a dent. Um, but the only like a cheap one like a Toyota Prius, that I can see that saving you some money, especially if you have an exceptionally long commute. I know someone who got a Prius just for that purpose, like a 2 hour drive to work, um, and you're getting 55 miles per gallon. That is saving you money in the long run. But, however, what you need to consider is the cost of a battery once it goes out, which can be up to
Right.
7 grand.
Right. And also the electricity bill because you have to have a special plug.
Well, if it's the plug-in, then yeah, not all of them are. Some of them the gas engine will just charge them when it runs out. But
Right. Right. Which I mean, and honestly, that's one thing I think. Instead of making a hybrid car, they should just do that. They should just make it to where if you're going to make an electric car, use the gasoline motor to charge the batteries.
hmm and I think
I
even
mean,
some of them had solar panels on them, which is kind of laughable.
yeah,
Like that's gonna really charge up a car.
yeah. Especially with our lovely Oklahoma weather, that where I live, that's cloudy 1 hour and completely sunny the next, and cloudy the next hour. So
Exactly. I mean, it's not
it's,
even
you got
not.
like 1 hour charge.
Yeah, some of them are getting up to 300 miles, like that Tesla.
Yeah.
But of course, you're talking like what, $100,000,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
It's the and that's the next reason why I feel like that the South doesn't want the hybrid cars
Mm-hmm.
is because for one the pricing on them is just a little too much. Because honestly, I feel like if you went and got a diesel vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
you could still get 40 miles to a gallon, and it's diesel. So when you run out, you just pull up and refill it, and take off.
But the one thing to remember though is the price of
Right.
diesel compared to gas, and you gotta keep in mind how crummy diesel engines. Not necessarily the manufacturer's fault. Mainly the
Right.
EPA for making them, you know, put in the exhaust filter and this fluid, and because I mean
Yeah.
you used to see diesel trucks, it would blast out a bunch of black smoke. Well, now they don't do that, and they're still using the same fuel, so all that garbage is staying inside of the engine.
Right.
So yeah, that's not
Which is
good.
actually, which is kind of funny because it's actually more harmful to the environment than it is for them to
Yeah,
go ahead and blow out the black smoke.
and that black smoke is less harmful than if it was a gasoline motor, but it's
Exactly.
it's ugly, so it scares people.
Right.
That's the issue.
Um. Yeah. So pretty much right now we don't want hybrids.
No.
Don't need them. We've got good options for gasoline and diesel.
Or hydrogen combustion engine. That'd be
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah, that would be. But the problem is you also have to do the liquid form, and hydrogen to liquids kind of
What?
complicated.
Negative 300 degrees Fahrenheit or
Yeah,
something.
it's just a little bit complicated. So, by the way, whoever figures that out, guys, y'all will become millionaires. So, get on it.
Yeah. And if you can find a way to make a hydrogen tank put in a car that will not explode into a nuclear catastrophe upon a fender bender, you will also make $1 million.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that before. I've seen that video on YouTube. I'll laugh.
It's so true, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, those things are flammable.
So that's pretty much the end of the Southern Country Tech Talk.
Hey, man.
And hopefully you guys were entertained. Let us know in the comments below what you think. And until then, guys, we'll see you in the next episode.
See y'all later.